What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video on this Saturday morning. Wanted to get into some draft prospects from the NFL Combine. We've spent a lot of time on the high-end guys, for instance, first-round options for the New York Jets, but I wanted to talk about some mid-round options that might make sense for the New York Jets and how they did at the Combine. So let's start with tight end out of Georgia Tech, Jackson Hawes. I am really intrigued by him as a blocking tight end. He had a absolutely phenomenal quote saying, "I'm looking to punish people. I'm looking to put my face mask under someone's chin." This is the best blocking tight end in the 2025 draft class. I know that's not something that's going to particularly jump off the page to some people when evaluating talent. And sure, the Jets need pass catchers. I'm not saying only if you're going to draft a tight end, only take Jackson Hawes. But I think the Jets are going to be a significantly more heavy run team in 2025 than they were a year ago. And a player like this would go a long way to improving the run game. He's a projected 5th round pick. And, maybe there's a chance where the Jets double up on tight ends. They take one in the 2nd or 3rd round and then take a guy in the 5th round who's projected to be a very, very good blocker at the next level. He's not overly athletic. I mean, you could take a look at his RAS score. He ran a 4.83 40 time, for instance, which isn't fantastic, but decent height and weight for a tight end, and not going to give you much as a pass catcher. But I mean, if the Jets are going to be looking to clear out some running lanes, this is exactly the route that they should go in the NFL draft. Sticking with tight ends, I'm going to talk about Mason Taylor out of LSU. He ran an absolutely unbelievable gauntlet. He stood out from the Senior Bowl also. He's 6'5", 251 pounds, projected as either a 2nd or 3rd round picks. And it depends on where the Jets are looking to take their tight end in the draft, right? Like, you can make the case, sure, like take Tyler Warren at 7. He's the best tight end in the class. But if they're looking for non-first round options, this is someone, I mean, they have a pick at 42. I would say he could be in play there. While I say 2nd or 3rd round, I'm talking more the top of the 3rd round. The Jets have Detroit's 3rd round pick, which is at the back end of the 3rd round. What is it, 96? I don't think he makes it that far. But if the Jets did look to take a tight end somewhere on day 2, this is a player that I would anticipate they target. He got a ton of high praise from NFL draft analyst Matt Miller, saying that he was in a different tier than the other tight ends who are working out. This is the son of NFL Hall of Famer and one-year Jets wonder, Jason Taylor. So he's got the NFL lineage going for him. He showed out really well, I thought, at the NFL Combine, and might be a player at a position that the Jets desperately need that they could target. The next guy I want to talk about is a corner out of FSU, Azari Thomas. He didn't do any testing outside of the broad. This is someone with elite size, including arm length and wingspan, which is something that Aaron Glenn has mentioned. Glenn comes from a scouting background and kind of looks for these things about players. Like he said, if you're going to be 5'10", you got to have good wingspan. And granted, he is significantly taller than that. I believe 6'1" is where he measured in at. But I'm curious if this would be a good option for the New York Jets for their cornerback number 2. He's a projected top of the 2nd round guy. 42 might be tough for the New York Jets to land him there. But if for whatever reason he is still on the board for the Jets at pick number 42, this feels like an absolute no-brainer for what the Jets would be looking for at the corner position. And they need to fill that cornerback 2 role. And if they don't think someone like a Brandon Eccles or Jackson Bernard Converse or Quantez Stiggers can fill that role, I would think drafting this guy at the beginning of day 2 would go a long way to fixing that cornerback 2 issue. And then the last guy I wanted to talk about, Jamari Caldwell. He's been a mock draft favorite, at least in the Jets content creation world. Interior defensive line out of Oregon. Big boy, 6'2", 332 pounds was his official measurement. His 40 time was not very good at all, 5'16", but that's not what you'd necessarily be drafting him for, although as a positive, he did look significantly better in some of the other drills that he participated in, even though he didn't run well, straight line speed. This is a run stuffing interior defensive lineman. He's not going to give you a ton of speed there. Is 5'16", is that good? Am I writing home about it? No. But it's not enough for me to go, I'm not interested in taking him. And what would likely be like the 4th round, somewhere in that range, I think would make sense for Jamari Caldwell to go. Something of note, he did drop some weight. So he was originally played most of this year at 340. So he dropped to 332. Curious to see how low he goes. But if he's playing somewhere even at 325 to 330, that's an interior run stuffer, which Jets did not have last year, and it cost them mightily. They got absolutely bullied in the run game on both sides of the ball, by the way. They didn't run the ball very well offensively, defensively. They couldn't stop it. Again, I'm projecting because we have no idea, but I would really find it hard to believe that Aaron Glenn isn't going to want to come in here and change that. I think that's exactly what he would want to do. Build out the trenches on both sides of the ball so you are significantly more competitive in the run game, and a little bit of, a bully and nastiness. And, the two guys in particular here, and Jamari Caldwell, who I just talked about, and then going back up to the first tight end and Jackson Hawes out of Georgia Tech. Those are two, day 3 guys who can come in and help you in the run game on both sides of the ball. Hawes, from a blocking perspective, we saw the Detroit Lions run a ton of 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, and the Jets need multiple tight ends this offseason. And if they're looking for one who would have a huge impact on the run game, that would be your guy. And they need somebody to stop it as well on the other side. So those are 4 names to me that stood out at the NFL Combine for one reason or another. Not necessarily just they were the best of the best, but noteworthy things, potential targets for the New York Jets on day 2, on early day 3, taking a look at some players that the Jets could take. So let me know what you think about the 4 guys I listed. If I missed someone that you think should be on this list that either performed well or you think should be a mid-round target for the New York Jets, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.